Hi, I'm Scott Hanselman. This is another episode of Hansel Minute. Today I'm chatting with Bria Sullivan, who's got the number one app on the App Store on Android and iPhone. How are you?
Hi, Scott. I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of returns, like so-and-so returns. They're back. They're back for another show. But I downloaded the number one app on the App Store and I immediately recognized the art style. And I was just like, what is going on? And then Hank Green has been talking about his new app, his new Focus app. And then I put two and two together and I was like, Bria's working with Hank? What is happening?
hmm
You had popular apps before, but this has got to be another level.
Oh, yeah. This is I didn't even know that this level was possible. So I didn't even dream this big. I was like, oh, yeah, that's like every app developer's dream is to hit number one,
Mhm.
but not this level, you know?
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
app is called Your Focus Friend or Focus Friend by Hank Green.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about. It's interesting because Hank has put his name in the title, which gives it kind of like name recognition. You immediately go, oh, I know Hank Green.
hmm
And when I said I installed it, of course, I knew immediately that it was Honeybee Games. It just had your vibe. It had your aesthetic. It was very cozy,
hmm
very comfortable. Let's start at the beginning. Like, you've been doing your boba tea games for a while. How did you hook up with Hank?
Yeah, I mean, I launched Boba Story back in 2021. And I've been kind of like iterating on it for a while. And so last year, January 2024 of last year, we were I was just at home and then we saw that like Hank was going to be in town. He was doing his Cancer Sucks tour, I think it was the name of it.
Mm-hmm. When he was doing
And
stand up?
yeah, when he was doing stand up, and he was doing it in like the city that we like right by where we lived.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, oh, I hadn't met him before. And so my fiance, he taught on Hank's channel a few years ago. Or on Crash Course specifically. And he's just generally friends like with Hank and John.
Mm-hmm.
And since Hank was in town, we ended up all getting dinner together. And then another guest was there too. And we were just talking, typical like, oh, what do you do? And I was just like, oh yeah, I make apps or whatever. And my fiance is like, oh, like she makes Boba Story. And he like showed him Boba Story. And then Hank was like, wow, this is really cute. And, typical like dinner conversation. And I think over the dinner, I had mentioned how I think that apps and games would be a really good idea for creators to have, because like I was able to sustain myself from an app. And I was like, and a lot of it was just having an audience too from the beginning. And I thought like, yeah, I feel like a lot of creators should. And that was just kind of a passing comment that I had and something I was kind of passionate about. And because it felt sustainable because like if you're trying to support a creator, how many t-shirts of theirs are you going to buy versus like, oh, what if you just have one of their utility apps and you can just like have an in-app purchase or something to support them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
worth noting that Hank has a lot of kind of online commentary, both on TikTok and on YouTube
Mhm.
about sustainability. And he's very popular on TikTok, but he complains a lot about how the Creator Fund is not something that one can easily sustain a business on, and
Right.
how he ends up wanting to push people to YouTube, which itself has its own problems.
hmm
But the idea of like being on the content treadmill that Hank and John have been on for a very long time to sustain a whole business requires you to keep running on the
Yeah.
treadmill. And the running of maintaining an app that you're doing is different. It's a
Mhm.
different kind of running. It's
Yeah.
not the pressure to post every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And it helped me have a little bit more like flexibility with my time. And yeah, it was just we had typical conversation. And then I guess that kind of had a light bulb go off in his head. And the following week after the dinner, he just reached out to me on TikTok, wanted to find out more about like this idea. And then he ended up like we started talking about ideas, and then it turned into we are making an app together.
So did he have the idea and it was just sitting in his brain for a while, or did you have the idea or did you who had the idea of
Mhm.
we need a bean. We need a
Mhm.
tiny bean that lives in your phone.
I I came up with that we could do a focus timer. I
Hmm.
think me just saying, "What about a focus timer?" and that really got him like, "Oh, I wanna do this, but I don't know how," type of thing, and
Mm,
so, over the weekend, we had just kind of been texting back and forth, and then um, he came up with Bean, Magical Bean, do doing stuff. Yeah,
uh-huh.
Magical Bean doing stuff and building stuff. It was originally gonna be, like, either Hank or John. He was like, "E
Mm,
Hank or" he's like, "It would either be me, John, or a magical bean," something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's so funny
building some
because you look back in time and you're just like, I don't think I would want Hank or John in my phone. And
Mhm,
like throwing it out there like that, it could be like me or my brother or like a bean. Like, of
mhm.
course, it has to be a bean. It
Yeah,
can't
though,
be it can't be a person.
it was never anything else, though. Like, it was literally just, it was like, "Should we do" it wasn't like, "Should we do a cat? Should we do a" yeah, it was always a bean.
And a focus timer though doesn't sound like the number one app. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Like
Yeah.
everyone's got a focus timer. Like everyone's trying to do a pomodoro. Everyone struggles to stay focused. How how do you make? Oh yeah, you say let me focus for 10 minutes and turn that into like a Tamagotchi that you're going to keep coming back and spending time with.
Mhm. How do I
Yeah, like the idea is like if people download the app, you can check it out. It's like
Right.
in My Focus Friend. That the idea is that he knits.
Mhm,
And if you interrupt him and thereby interrupt yourself,
mhm,
then you interrupt his knitting. And he loves socks. Now, Hank is well known for socks because he has his sock club.
mhm.
So that's kind of an awesome crossover as well. I assume that was orchestrated.
Yeah, but that was, like, a last minute decision, actually. Yeah, originally, the bean was building all of this stuff in the room. Um, yeah, that was originally what it was, but it was like, okay, well, then after 13, because there's about, like, 13 placements there,
Right?
after about 13 of them, you're done. So, we kind of had to, like, scrap that idea, but that was, like, a really last minute that happened much later.
Okay.
Yeah, it was originally Bean was building the actual stuff in the room,
Mm.
and it was gonna be like, "Oh, you earned a rare thing versus non-rare thing," and I was like, "I think there's too much math here. I think we should, like, bring it down a bit and just be like, the bean earns, m make something, and then you trade that thing for decorations."
Yeah. And see, again, I'm looking back, like that makes more sense. Like I wouldn't like it's almost like Animal Crossing, where
Mhm,
you're spending some time, you're building up your house, you're getting collectibles. Like I have a basic red. I'm holding up my phone. Like I have like a basic red desk, but now I'm unsatisfied with that basic red desk.
mhm,
So I must swap that desk out for a more sophisticated desk, but that's going to require more focus and more time.
mhm.
So now I have to let the bean go off and do more knitting, and then I will trade those socks for better stuff. It's like it's this wonderful little flywheel, which I think your boba games are kind of known for as well, because this is called the gameplay loop, right?
Yeah,
Because you've
the
been
game
designing
loop, yeah.
games for years.
Mhm,
So the
yeah.
gameplay loop is supposed to be something that makes you stick around.
Yeah. So I've consulted for other startups as well, that startups that were like game app adjacent, kind of like this. And what I was really appealed with things like that is the habit building. I don't think with games there's not the you don't really want someone to have a habit of playing your game every day as much as all game or mobile game studios would want. I feel like that doesn't really fit with, like, my values,
Hmm.
you know? Is, like, that someone should play my thing every single day, but if it's, like, something that's helping them, then that feels a lot better to me.
Hmm.
It's like a habit, and so I think having it, like, game-ish, but, like, it's more of a habit and, like, get it the game keeps them from doing something that is good for them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you said of your values, and it
Mhm.
seems like you guys got along because Hank has talked about his values as well. Because people were saying, "Well, why can't I just buy like a better desk for my bean? Why can't I just buy stuff that goes on the wall?" And he didn't want to make the free version of the game feel like a big in-app purchase thing. And he did a TikTok recently where he was basically saying, "Oh yeah, we could do that and make a ton of money, but that's not the point." Did that align with your values as well?
For sure, for sure. I think, um, there are so many things that we could have done to make probably triple what we're making right
Mm,
now. Um, but I think part of why people are responding so well to it is because we're not doing those things. Those like, a lot of games will have like scarcity, like, oh my God, like, oh no, I need another life. I almost beat this level. I need to pay $1 so that I can get like that. That's a psychological mind trick that a lot of games use.
hmm
We didn't want to do that. So that's why most of the things in the game that you can pay for are completely cosmetic and not like tricking you, if that makes
hmm
sense.
I noticed that for those who are maybe listening, they can't
Mm,
see your room, but your
mm,
room has a very chill pastel vibe. You've got
yeah.
your baby's place thing there. You've always had, in the time that I've known you, kind of a very Neapolitan ice cream, for lack of a better word, kind of style. And when I mentioned before,
Mm,
when I saw the app, I immediately said, "This is a Bria game." And I went
mhm,
into like the FAQ, and I was like, "Okay." I saw support at Honeybee Games, and I was like, "Okay, Bria did this." How did you develop your aesthetic? Did your aesthetic immediately click with Hank's?
mhm.
And where does that come from?
The aesthetic is, we iterated a ton. Like, we did a ton of iteration on it. Um, we at first wanted it to feel very, like, lo-fi and, like, um, almost, like, pink and purpley,
hmm
but it just wasn't fitting. It wasn't fitting. What was the point of view? I think because the point of view is that this bean is kind of like, someone who's just graduated college and they're still trying to, like, figure out who they are, like, as an
Mm,
adult. I think that's kind of the point of view that we wanted to come from, and we wanted it to feel very, like, hand drawn. Um, and yeah, and then also I work with the same artist that I work with Boba Story,
hmm
and so we like, I cannot tell you how many beans we went through before we landed on this bean. So many. We have so many different beings that we went through and different art aesthetics before we landed on this one. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot. This is how we did it. I talked to like Hank had like a little link at the bottom of his YouTube video. So much has happened. I'm sorry. Like
No, it's okay. You've been
just a
working
link.
for us. For us, this just took over the internet last week. For
Yeah.
you, this has been a year plus of your life.
Yeah. And I've honestly just forgot about, like, the journey because there was a 1-year gap because I had a complicated pregnancy. So I was, like, basically morning sickness all day for a long time, and I couldn't work for almost a year.
Oh wow.
And so, like, there's a huge gap. That's why a lot of it, like, it was delayed, to launch, but anyway, so what I did was, Hank had put a link at the bottom of one of his YouTube videos, just, like, saying, "Hey, does anyone use focus timers? Can you talk to someone?" And it was just like a form, and
hmm
I interviewed, I wanna say, like, 40 people?
Oh wow.
And, I put together a little, like, interview thing, and I had, like, just a bunch of different photos of, like, aesthetics that they're drawn to, or aesthetics, and then they would tell me which one they were drawn to, um, and I had a bunch of different beans, and I asked them to choose which bean that they liked the best, like, yeah, so it was a lot of, like, user research, I guess, to to figure this out.
Is that I'm looking at the bean? He's right now. He's working for the next hour. Is
Mhm.
that his butt, or is that just a line on his back?
It is a butt. It is a
Okay.
butt, and, Hank requested the butt. Mm, mm,
Classic Hank.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he
Um,
actually forgot that he's the one who asked for it too.
really? Did like
Yeah,
the butt show up one day, and he's like, "Wait a second, who would ask for such a thing?" And I was like, "No, that was literally you."
that was you, yeah.
This is more technical.
Mhm,
It seems really high frames per second.
mhm.
Is it vector based, or are those just like did you just make a ton of like onion skin PNGs? Because he's really smooth. There's no jankiness to the bean.
We use a software called Spine, or I have an animator that I work with, and she uses
Mhm.
a software called Spine, and it's like a skeletal animation
Oh,
software.
wow.
So it's mostly like, I think like rigging parts of PNGs to skeletons and then
Oh.
moving those like just skeletons. And
He has a
so, yeah,
butt and a skeleton. The bean
yeah,
has all
yeah,
of these things.
yeah. The bean has a skeleton.
So we need a making of documentary on your YouTube that like goes through. I want to know what this guy's skeleton looks like because like now he's yawning and stretching,
Mhm,
and he's like getting taller and stretching out. Like the subtlety in the idle animations is
mhm.
really fun as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that I was also interested in understanding, and we're getting more from a technical perspective because this is a technical podcast, or at least it's supposed to be, is when you go from like 1,000 users to 10,000 users to 100,000 users. We talked when we were on the podcast last time about how you popped overseas. Like one day it was like everyone in Malaysia, if I recall, like loved
Mhm,
your app or something.
mhm,
But if you're going to throw the full like weight of the Green Brothers against an app, you could have like uploaded it to the App Store on a Monday. Then they do a YouTube or whatever or a TikTok on Tuesday, and then Wednesday you have not only a million like users, but maybe a million crashes and
mhm.
maybe a crashing bug. How this feels like it launched onto the internet last week, became the number one app in both Android and iOS, like overnight success in a day. But like we said, it's been a year of your life, year plus of your life. Has this been out longer than just a week? And how did you manage like crashes and ramping up and things like that?
We did a soft launch. So at the end of July, we just kind of turned it on the App Store, and there were bugs. There were bugs for sure. And then Hank posted on his YouTube posts. So those don't get that much visibility. And so
Oh,
he
the
posted
shorts,
on
the little ones.
no, like posts, like
Oh,
the
like stories.
community posts,
Oh, community
which is
posts,
a
like the little
text.
YouTube blog thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so just a community post, and we got a few thousand downloads, and we got so much feedback based on like, um, we got a bunch of feedback just from the initial launch, and there were a couple things that people had really big problems with, and a lot of assumptions that I made that were like, "Oh, yeah, that was wrong. That was my bad on that part." But it was intentional for us to do a soft launch though, because we wanted to have a little bit of time to iterate on it and, like, get feedback before telling everyone about it. Because, yeah,
Was it
the
about
yeah.
feedback? This is just I'm thinking about how
Yeah.
I would think about this, and you know, you've
Mhm,
been a games developer for many, many years, and you have far more experience than I do. But my paranoia would be like a crash or a startup crash or something I couldn't get myself out of. When you
mhm,
say feedback, were you worried about stability and things like that, and crashes and bugs,
mhm.
or were you thinking about like actual feedback, like I won't use this because the bean has a butt?
Both for sure. But I've had beta testers. I've had about 100 beta testers in a Discord for the past year, and I've been iterating. They all have different devices, but I at least and crashing was something that we were really concerned about in the beginning, and there were some things that came up, but like there isn't a lot in the app that can crash, luckily.
Hmm.
Um, well, there is one crashing bug that I'm working on right now, but it only affects people who are on iOS 15. So
Oh wow, that's
yeah,
obscure.
yeah, it's only people who are on iOS 15 that it doesn't work for, but everyone else it should be okay. So yeah, but that it's not that many people, but I do still want to fix it for them. But we don't connect to the internet, so there's not a lot that can crash there. We don't have ads, which is a huge thing for crashing. We don't use many third-party libraries, so that's there. And the only ones that we use are like very stable. So, yeah.
The just out of curiosity, because it's fascinating. Like you say, you have a bug right now on iOS 15. Is it a screen time bug, or is it something? Is it just the way that iOS 15 like draws to the screen, or something more obscure?
It's the screen time API bug for
Hmm.
deep focus mode. So, in the app, we have something called deep focus mode where it actually turns off all the apps or it locks all of the apps on your phone. Um, And even though that is available for iOS 15, I think in iOS 16, they completely changed like how to request the screen time API authorization.
Hmm.
And so it just crashes. So, um, yeah, it is kind of like an iOS bug, but I have to fix it. So it's basically if someone
Yeah.
has iOS
You
15,
have
I
to
have to call
detect
you.
it and figure out what to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I thought I knew my phone. Like I'm an iOS person. I've had an iPhone for since jump. And when the bean decided to ask my machine for focus time, it popped up a dialogue I had never seen before.
Mhm.
Like I thought I knew my machine. I use this phone and I use all the apps. I'm an enthusiast. And it
Mhm.
says, "Can my focus friend have access to your screen time?" And I'm like, "What? Third-party apps can talk to focused can talk to what's the
Screen.
on screen time?"
Yeah, screen time.
I had no idea that was a thing. That's just a delightful little thing
Mhm.
to like turn on. Are there a lot of apps that do that kind of work?
Yeah, there are, and actually, they interact with. There's a bug where if some of them are like running at the same time, like Apple
Fighting
gets
with you.
confused. Yeah, I think that I'm so proud of solving this bug, and since this is a technical podcast, can I please talk about it?
Let's go.
Okay. So I was almost in tears because I could not fix this bug. Mostly because I couldn't reproduce it. I think that those are the ones that really just like mess with you. Because so basically in Focus Friend, you can turn all the apps on locked while you're focusing, right? And Apple has a way to like um to do this. And it chooses which apps are um, based on your screen time settings. It'll choose apps like your settings, your health app, whatever, that are always going to be available. We are not going to block this no matter what, right? For some reason, we were getting so many emails saying Instagram is not being blocked, and that's the app that I need to be blocked. YouTube is not being blocked. TikTok is not being blocked, but it's not consistent. It's blocking on my phone. It blocks on a lot of people's phones, but it's not consistent. Some people, Instagram is just not being blocked. And they're like, that's the distracting one. I even purchased a lifetime whatever, so I can block it and it's still not being blocked. I was losing it. I was losing it, not being able to fix this. And I was like, I cannot replicate it. I was emailing everyone I know at Apple. I'm like, I cannot figure this out. But I just solved it. The reason that Instagram was not being blocked is because if you have like app limits, like, oh, I only want to use Instagram for 20 minutes a day, something
Hmm.
like that. If you ever click, do you use those?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I have 15 minutes on my Instagram.
Yeah. If you click ignore for today, it gives
Oh,
it gives your whole phone a free pass for Instagram the entire day.
that's so dumb. I assumed that Instagram had their own internal screen time measure and they were not using Apple's.
Mm-mm.
That's that's insane. That's so not obvious. I assumed that there were two levels of screen time. I thought there was the Apple outside one and then the
Mm.
Instagram inside one.
It's only controlled by Apple.
So everyone who was hitting that bug had hit ignore for today.
Mhm.
And you can't override that?
No, I can't override that because like Apple can't even because even if you turn off that setting, like you remove it from your app limits, it's like a system level thing that this has a bypass for the day for what's called manage store shield. It's just called a shield. Like
Hmm.
no it will not be blocked by any Apple shield.
So how? Okay, so you fixed it. How do you fix that? Do you pop up and let them know? Do you inform the user what they need to not do? How do you solve that?
Yeah, I mean, like, in my opinion, we are a focus app and we're trying to help you like stay off of your distracting apps. If you clicked ignore for today, we have to basically just tell them, don't do that. You know,
Yeah,
like
you're
yeah,
holding
like
it wrong. Very typical Apple answer.
yeah, it's like
Don't
you're.
don't touch your microphone right
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was a microphone. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Um, yeah. The yes. Uh, Basically, the whole point of the app is to not use distracting apps. So if you're going to set a limit, you should probably abide by it, type of
Hmm.
thing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So speaking of obscure apps and obscure things, so
Mhm.
I'm diabetic and I
Mhm.
have two apps on my phone that run in the background, my blood
Mhm.
sugar meter and my pump. Those are always allowed. They never ever can be like turned off.
Mhm.
Could this accidentally turn those off? Or where do I say you must always allow these two medical apps to run?
Yes. So, what I might actually add this into the app specifically
Mm-hmm.
so people know this, but um if you go to settings, screen time, there
Mm-hmm.
is an always allowed setting, and you should
Mm.
add your medical apps there to be always allowed because I wouldn't want people to have to pay for those to always be allowed. Um, and I as much as we can add those as like always allowed on our end, but there are different apps. And also, like, our API is not always the most stable. So if there's ever any interaction with, so there's another app called Opal.
Mm-hmm.
So it does the opposite of what Focus Friend does. So with Opal, you can just set specific apps to be blocked for a certain amount of time, which we are adding. But if you have both of those running at the same time, Apple just gets confused, like, the API just gets confused and just shuts all the apps off. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no allowing on either side, on Opal's side or on our side. There's no allow list.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at that right now. I just literally went setting screen time always allowed. And now I have phone, messages, FaceTime, maps, and my two medical apps.
Mhm.
And that's all I got to do.
Mhm.
That's cool. I like that there's no, like, certainly I wouldn't want to have to pay to go and do something like that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I worry about with focus apps is that what if it got itself confused and then locked all my apps and then maybe I deleted it, or
Mhm.
like all my apps are grayed out and I'm in a always locked state. Is that possible?
That did happen. So that was actually thank you for reminding me. So much has happened in the past few weeks that was also a big bug when we did our soft launch. Like, it was locking people out of their entire phone.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, that I fixed it. I don't remember how I fixed it, but I know so the workaround if it happens is that you just go to your settings, screen time, scroll down to apps that have access, and then just revoke access
Hmm.
from Focus Friend, and then it'll unshield all the apps.
One compliment I wanted to give you was that when I was using it yesterday, I was at an event and I noticed that it went into the dynamic island, which is the top part of the iPhone, and it also
Mhm.
started what's called a live activity.
Mhm.
Sometimes apps that work cross platform, that work on iOS and Android, for lack of a better word, suck on both rather than be awesome on both. But you're actually checking and lighting up and you're doing the best thing that one could do. And I'm easily impressed. If you do a live activity or a dynamic island, that means you care about iPhone and like you want to use the iPhone
Oh,
to
thank
its
you.
fullest. So I thought that was really cool that your app is awesome on both Android and iOS. Was that a conscious decision as well, or is that just you've always been doing that?
That was a conscious decision. We did not have we did not have those things before, and it was a pretty big complaint. And for a long time, I just kind of told myself, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then I just kind of buckled down and was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to write native. So the app is made in Unity, which is
Hmm.
a cross-platform tool. And I had to create bridges that go to native. And then I just wrote, so I would just like open Xcode, write native code, and then kind of like, and then plug it back into Unity. So I've had to do both native Android and iOS, which I've done. Like, my background was in both native iOS and Android before I started doing games. So yeah.
When right now I'm in focus mode and it says focus with Bean on the main screen, it's pretty Spartan. Did you consciously decide not to put a picture of the bean in the live activity so that as not to distract me? I'm just wondering like what you're allowed to draw in there.
No, I actually wanted to put that there. It's just really hard.
Okay.
It was just more work, and I was like, I don't know how much if the juice is worth the squeeze,
Yeah, yeah.
if that makes sense. Right now, I would love to add more to the live activity, But, like, even just getting that and having the timer,
Mhm.
bar go down, like, that took a long time
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it was, like, really tiny, I wanted it to be bigger, yeah, that took a long time, and, we have bean customizations, like, we have different skins, and I'm like, "What if that picture is not the bean
Oh, goodness.
that you have?" And so, yeah, it starts to, bloat and and feature creep, and I'm the only one working on this, so it's not, I don't have a team to be like, "Hey, you work on a live activity and make this happen."
So did you think it would get this big?
Not
Like,
at all.
this thing
Mhm.
popped, and it popped in a way almost like it was the perfect moment. Everyone's stressed out, everything sucks, everyone's just, like, tense, everyone's walking around on edge.
Mhm.
We needed a bean to, like, tell us to chill out. It just seems like Hank pick the perfect time to launch it. And I mean, there's kind of
Mhm.
luck. You know, you and I have talked about luck as opportunity plus being prepared.
Yeah.
Like you just happen to have dinner. You happen to hang out. He happened to have this idea. You happen to have experience in games. Like there's so much quote unquote luck, which is you
Yeah.
being ready for this opportunity and
Yeah.
then them making it happen. And now you have this collaboration. That's got to feel amazing. And the fact that it popped so much is insane. Like you beat OpenAI for like a couple of days.
I cannot, like, overstate how, like, I had no idea this was gonna happen. Like, we were hoping to get, like, "Oh my god, if we get, like, 100,000 users, that would be, like, that's, like, such a win," right? Like, that would be such a win, um, and, like, even 100,000 users in a month would be also just be, like, such a win, and we just didn't think it would be this big, and, like, to piggyback off your luck thing, so, we were supposed to launch last July, like,
A
we
year
were
ago?
yeah, so we were supposed to launch last July, but then I got pregnant and I was way too sick, I could not handle it. But so much has happened between that time, so there was an election last year that totally changed. Like, I think people were just really focused on that during that time too, and on top of that, um Marquez Brownlee also released his app Panels, if
Which
you
did quite
remember.
poorly.
Yes.
He pissed a lot of people off, and it really changed the discussion around apps and
Yeah.
what a free app and an app with in-app purchases should look like.
Yeah, and there were a lot of complaints that I thought were a little, um I I I I was like, "Oh, you probably just don't understand apps," but what I took away from that is the creator's reputation matters so much to,
Hmm.
like, what decisions that you make. So they had an option to, like, if you watch an ad, then you get one like, a wallpaper or something, right? So if you have that, you have to collect user data, and people really did not like that. They really did not like that, and that even came up in my discussions when I was talking to customers or not customers, when I was talking to people who use, like, my user research way in the beginning. They said how much they care about, like, their data and privacy and things like that, and so I had to come to Hank and be like, "Hey, I care about your reputation. I know we would like to hit a certain income on this to, like, make this feel worth it," because, like, we didn't neither of us got paid to make this app. Like, it was just, like, a labor of love for us. But I was like, "Hey, we could make more, but I think based on your reputation, we should not do this." And I think the more he thought about it, he's like, "Yeah, we should not collect people's data at all, even if it means that we would make more
So
money."
the app does not phone home to anything other than the standard APIs to like back itself up and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think that's such a smart idea. Like nobody wants like good guy Hank Green to come out with an app that like makes me watch a full screen ad for like freaking Candy Crush and then have to like hunt for the X in the corner that's been like white X on a white
Mhm.
background and I can't click on it. And
Yeah.
then the whole ask app not to track dialog box, like screw that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not a good look. Even if, like, as an app developer, like, if I didn't have like, if I wasn't working with Hank, that's just part of the game, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you have to do it, and, like, in Boba's story, I didn't have any ads
Well,
that, like, was
it's your number one revenue stream in Boba Story. Like it makes sense
yeah.
to have a small banner. It's not It's not intrusive.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any of those. I had all my ads were opt-in. And so people are
Oh, okay.
yeah, all my ads were opt-in, but even just having opt-in ads, you have to collect user data to make any money off of
Mm.
it. And people have asked Hank, well, can we just have an opt-in ad so that we don't have to pay or whatever? And he's like, we really can't. Like ad networks collect your data, so we cannot do it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
once you're in, and now that's the whole thing where you Google for socks once, and then for the rest of your life, every app you've ever used decides to tell
Mhm.
you here are some sock ads, and
Yeah.
you're in the game.
Yeah.
So, last question I want to ask as we head out. So
Mhm.
you've got a brand new baby.
Yeah.
You've got a new place that you're staying in. Like a lot of things are happening in your life. You're healthy. You're vertical. How is your stress? Because you must be
Mhm.
getting a flood of, I don't know, updates, crashes, feedback, obscure bugs. How do you like
Mhm.
maintain your sanity and not stay up till 3 a.m. every night working on the bean?
Well, my sleep is not great, that's for sure. My sleep is not great. My daughter woke up at 5 today. So that was that was a little rough. She's usually, like, pretty good at staying asleep until 7, but today was not one of those days. My stress is okay. I think, it was getting pretty bad with that one, bug that I was telling you about with Instagram and things like that. But once I was like, "Oh my god," like, after solving that, it starts to feel a little bit better. But, overall, pretty good. I think because the past year has been, like, really awful, it's hard to think that right now is stressful, if that like, yeah, just to put things into perspective. So, yeah, it's like it's stressful but fun, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a newborn baby. It's not new to be sleep deprived, you know?
Well, if only you had a focus app so that you can focus on the baby.
I know. Oh my god, please, I know. I'm, like, answering support tickets while I'm feeding her, and then I'm like, "Oh my god, I need my own app so that I'm not using my phone while I'm with my baby."
Well, don't burn out. We need
Mm.
you, and we appreciate you. Congratulations to both you and to Hank for such a wonderful and successful game. It's got to be just a joy to be able to pull something like that off and have that like on the Honeybee Games resume.
Yeah, for sure, and, like, even just being able to work with Hank has been like, "Oh my gosh, I get to work with Hank Green, like, that's so cool."
Folks can check out the game Focus Friend by Hank Green. You can check it out in app stores. It'll be in the top 10 for months to come. So Focus
Mm.
Friend by Hank Green. And I also want to encourage you to check out all of the Honeybee games by Bria at bubbleteagame.com, available on Google Play and on the App Store. This has been another episode of Hansel Minutes, and we'll see you again next week.